Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to harness the unfathomable power of the quantum field. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. When I posted that video yesterday, there were some comments and questions, very excited from some subscribers. One of the subscribers said, that's what I want to do. I want to move to a new timeline. I want to move to a new timeline where my parents are and I want to move to it now, where my parents are happy and they're living in a wealthy house and I just want to know how that's going to play out. And I'm just wondering, could you just tell me how it plays out? And we went back and forth on this, right? And here's really what I want to say. And another one of you said that Tom, that video reminded me of the Christopher Nolan movies, like Inception and Tenet. And actually, when you mentioned Tenet, I thought there was a great quote from that movie that really hits to this point of the subscriber wanting to know how it plays out, wanting to know what it's going to look like. Right? What's my new timeline going to look like was the specific question. And here's the quote from the movie, because the movie Tenet was a time-related movie, right, where you can move backwards and forward in time through a loop. But here's the quote, and it says, "Don't try to understand it, feel it." Such a simple sentence, but it goes to exactly everything we're talking about, right? Feeling, that inner state, is how you communicate with God, how you communicate with the quantum field or the field of infinite possibilities. It's not from logic. It's not from reasoning. It's not trying to figure things out on how. Right? Here's specifically what this subscriber said. If we are not all God, or if we are all God, then why are we saying it will play out in God's hands, or that the how is in God's hands? This is what you were asking after we went back and forth. Well, you are God. So it is playing out in God's hands. Those hands are your hands, right? It's the God within you. It's that power within you. Remember, you're one with that higher power. That's your higher you. That's your inner being or your higher self. It's not your 3D you. So when we say it's God's hands, we don't mean it's not in the hands of the 3D you or the 3D mind trying to wrestle it to the ground, trying to figure out how it's going to play out. But I'll tell you this, if you feel good, if you feel like you're in your wish fulfilled, if you're feeling that desired reality as an inner reality, then it's going to play out pretty darn good, right? The details will form. Right? God knows best, and higher you knows best how it's going to play out. But it's going to look a lot like what you're imagining, visualizing, and feeling within. Right? And then he said, how will it, my desired reality, be reflected now in my current and future reality? What will it look like? What will the world look like? Remember, you're looking into a mirror. Every time you ask those questions, and the mirror is saying, yes, you're right. What will it look like? Do you see it? The mirror comes back with the same question to you. And it looks like nothing until you decide what it looks like. It only looks like confusion. Because when you're asking those questions, you're in a state of not knowing. So the mirror reflects not knowing. Right? You know everything. You're connected to all that knowing. The alternative space has all the knowing. Your heart, that's all your heart or your soul does, is it just knows. It feels and it knows. It doesn't think and it doesn't analyze. It feels and it knows, right? So don't try to understand it, feel it. The heart feels and knows. It doesn't think, it doesn't analyze, it doesn't label, it doesn't judge. Hear this, right? And here's the bigger thing I want to say. And it's great that we have these questions because it gives us to a deeper, but the idea is that the videos and the information seeps in, right? Your subconscious, that it sinks in there because it's all playing out right now. Well, you're waiting for something big to happen in 3D reality that shows you that your manifestation is coming. You're feeling separated from that reality, from your desired reality. It's all playing out within you. You're creating it right now. You're shifting lifelines right now, all the time. Like I said yesterday, you're a reality generator, literally. You're throwing pebbles in that lake of infinity right now, and you're creating those realities. So if you say, well, I'm really struggling with this, or I don't get this, you're the mirror saying, okay, you don't know. Okay, you're struggling. Do you get this, guys? This is really big that I want to hit. Let's unpack it a little bit more. The quantum field, or what Vadim Zeland calls the alternative space, the divine matrix, like Greg Braden calls it, or source energy, or all that is an energy field, or a field of information and energy of potential. It's all of potential, and you're deciding and collapsing that potential in every moment. Hear this, right? Not necessarily an archive of what is, right? Or what things look like, but rather what things can look like. Hear this. So that energy field, that quantum possibility, when we say creation's finished, we mean creation's finished, yes, in its potential. Right? So that field really contains what things could look like, or did look like, or will look like, or never looked like, and never will look like. Do you hear this? It's everything and nothing, right? It's big, right? It's an ocean of pure potential. That's what we're talking about here. Trying to grasp that and wrestle that with the 3D mind keeps you in this puny, limited 3D focus. And it cuts you off from potential. It cuts you off from the field of infinite possibilities, right? So you choose what it will look like. This is big, with your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs right now. You decide that. If that's what you want, if you want your parents to live in a rich house, but you can't get there by going, I want it, and I want to know how it's going to play out, because the mirror will just go, okay, you're going to get more things to want, and you get more things to figure out how they're going to play out. That's how it works, right? Your thoughts, feelings, and substance beliefs, your assumptions and concepts about yourself and the world, that all shapes your reality right now, right? When you stop looking, so hear this, when you stop looking and putting your attention on a reality, that reality returns to pure potential. It no longer exists for you, right? Because it's streaming through your consciousness, right? You look with your attention and awareness and intention, right? This is big. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So here you are in front of the mirror, and you're saying, what will my desired reality look like? That's what essentially what your question as we went back and forth. That remember, you're standing in your reflection of 3D reality. And what does the mirror say? It reflects back a question mark. Indeed, what will it look like? That's all you're going to get is a question mark, because that's what you're creating is a question mark. Do you get this, guys? There is nothing outside of you, what you decide is going to look like. I really want to hit that, because it's this implied separation. This gets back to yesterday's video when we talk about revision, right? And we talked about what Neville didn't say, what Neville Goddard didn't say, right? Sometimes we look at revision as changing something in the past like it's separate from us, right? Like we have to go and deliberately change something that's separate from us. It's not, it's within us. So as we change, the past changes. It has to. The present changes in the future. Right? As your inner state changes, everything changes. That's the point I was making, right? Trying to think it through is with limiting beliefs and partial perceptions, right? When you try to think it through, you're limited to this tiny little speck of reality, right? You're like sea spray in the ocean, on a wave of the ocean, a drop of sea spray, right? This is what Vadim Zeland says, right? He compares us to a drop of sea spray where we're here for a moment and then we return back to infinite potential. That's what our 3D experience is, right? So not to minimize it, but to give you the magnitude that we're connected to that ocean of God, that ocean of infinity. We're one with it, but we keep seeing ourselves as a drop of sea spray separated from it. That's really what I wanted to get at, right? Indeed, a much more powerful and potent question would be this: how do I want to feel? Instead of what is my future going to look like in sort of a 3D manifested type of way, How do I want to feel? Because that will determine what it's going to look like. Hear this, right? We get so caught up on what it's going to look like in a manifested form. Instead, what is it going to look like within? Because when you get that right, the outer is right? So what do I want to be in my state of being? Not just who do I want to be? I'm not talking about some 3D identity, but what do you want to be within? What's your state of being? What do you want to feel? You communicate with the metaphysical side of the mirror through your feelings, right? And I'm talking more, when I talk feelings, I'm talking an entire state of being, right? That inner state, right? Your state of being moves you into the sector of the field where your dreams come true. Hear this. That's what happens. And we talked about that yesterday. This is big. With your intention, with your visualizing and your imagining, you shape the scripts or lifelines that will play out. So you're going to move there with your state of being. And as you intend something, as you visualize, as you imagine it, you then shape the specific time script or timeline that it will play out on. Hear this, right? So here's and this is what Vadim Zeland come up. I love this analogy. I just drew a picture so you could get a sense of it. Here's the ocean. That's infinity. That's all there is. That's source. That's the quantum field. These waves are manifestations, and there you are, one of these dots, one of these bubbles or sprays, right? On the wave. This is what you think you are, like when you're caught in the reflection. So it's not really who you are. You're really the ocean. You're really the wave on the ocean. You're part of all that, right? But what happens is, for a second you get trapped into thinking you're just that drop of water, that drop of ocean spray, right? And when actually you are that, you are the wave and you are the ocean. You're all of it, right? But we think we're just this. Do you get this, guys? That's what limits you. And when you ask those questions, they're okay. I'm not saying don't ask the questions. I want you to understand that when you ask them, the answer's already within you. And I'm always happy to go over this stuff and answer any question. But just know, ask it from a point that you want to create it. And then it gets really powerful, right? So when all your attention awareness is on 3D reality, the reflection in the world mirror, right? Or on the drop of ocean spray, right? Think of that when you're caught in the 3D mirror, right? In your reflection, you're focused on that drop in the ocean spray, the reflection in the mirror. You are like a drop of ocean spray, right? Thinking and feeling you are separate from the ocean, source, God, all that is, right? Your awareness and perception is limited and narrowed to a microscopic part of all that is. Hear that. To a tiny part of the world mirror as you stare at the reflection, right? You limit the world mirror. You only see a tiny speck. Right, as you continue to want to nail down the details of what those lifelines should look like. Those lifelines are not separated from you. I just want to make clear, you are the lifeline, right. So as you move into new sectors, as you light up new sectors of the quantum field, and as you move to lifelines, you become that lifeline with your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. And as you continue to light up your wish fulfilled, you're going to you'll become the lifeline where your wish is fulfilled, right? But if you doubt, you create other lifelines. You're a reality creator, right? You create other possibilities where your desire is not there. Right? Do you see this? This is why when often people ask, well, how long does it take? Well, that's part of it. That's part of you sort of toggling between lifelines. But really, it's not that those lifelines are already there. You create them as you go, right? So your awareness and perception is limited and narrowed to a microscopic part of all that is, to a tiny part of the world mirror as you stare at your reflection, right? But within that drop of ocean spray, within that tiny drop is the entire ocean. You are one with all that is. Within there, that contains the whole blueprint of infinity. Right? Because remember, we talked about this. Everything's a hologram. Within every part of a hologram contains the whole. Within any part of the ocean spray contains the entire ocean. You contain the entire ocean of infinity within you. Yet you're getting down into the weeds with the 3D mind trying to figure things out and just keeping and all that you can see are the weeds. Can you hear this, guys? So let's unpack this a little bit more. So here's the best thing you can do. Start to think like your higher being. You're going to go, well, Tom, what does my higher being think like? Well, your higher being that's what your feelings tell you. When you feel crappy, when you feel confused, when you feel frustrated, when you feel like you don't know, right? When you're not feeling extreme clarity, when you're not feeling peaceful, when you're not feeling elated, when you're not feeling joy, all of those are signs of your higher self. Anything opposite that, feeling crappy, is not your higher self, right? That's your emotional guidance system. That's your higher self saying that you're thinking something that's not true, right? But bigger than that, you're believing it, right? Remember, you only feel what you think, but bigger than that, you only feel what you believe, right? So your thoughts can only create reality, can only harm you, if you want to think about that way, if you believe them, right? They only have power when you believe them. Just stop believing everything you think. So it doesn't mean you have to control your thoughts. The thoughts will always come. You just got to stop believing them. Stop buying into them. Stop thinking that they are reality, right? You get to decide. You call the shots, right? When you do, your intention, your desire, plus the knowing equals choosing to have to be it. That's what happens. When you do, your intention becomes aligned. Intention, remember, is desire plus knowing equals choosing to have it or to be it. That's intention, right? It's not just desiring, right? It's desiring plus knowing, right? Plus knowing it's yours, right? And that equals choosing to have it and be it. When you do, your intention becomes aligned with the all-powerful intention of Source or infinite intelligence. That's your heart and mind aligning. That's what all the greats did, right? Jesus, Krishna, Muhammad, all of them, Buddha, they all aligned with that. But they were in perfect alignment. Perfect alignment. They were enlightened beings, right? You don't have to be in perfect alignment, right? That's what all these processes are for. From scripting to visualizing to imagining, reality transurfing, Neville got it. Those are all so you can come into alignment with this greater you, right? To do what? To create your layer of the world, to create your layer of reality, right? Remember, your inner intention is your 3D mind, right? That's when you start clenching your fist or really trying hard to do something, right? That's inner intention. But inner intention is your conscious intention. So you do got to set a conscious intention to have something or to be something. Choose it. But after that, it's now in the hands of outer intention, what Vadim calls outer intention, your higher mind or your higher self. It's guided, right, by your intention to have it, right? But remember, it's a light touch. It's not about wrestling it to the ground, right? So it becomes aligned with that all-powerful Source, right? That's what all the greats did. That's what all the masters did. They became aligned, but aligned perfectly, right? You from a 3D perspective, we live in 3D reality, right? We create it and live it at the same time. We observe it and we become it at the same time, or we become it and we observe it. So that's part of the enjoyment, right? Not to sit on a mountain and just meditate all day long. You don't have to do that. You can enjoy it, right? But you can become pretty powerful by becoming mostly aligned with your higher self. That's really what we're talking about here. This is from really reality transurfing that Vadim calls them inner intention or outer intention. But basically what it means is your 3D mind or your higher mind. That's all that is, right? It's the intention of your 3D conscious self and the intention of your higher self. Hear this, or God, or that higher power. When you align these intentions, when you align the heart and soul, right? Or not the heart and soul, the heart and mind, or the heart or the mind and soul, then you now have the unfathomable power of infinity, the unfathomable power of the quantum field flowing, rushing through you, right? Think of it this way. It's like flying a kite. Vadim uses this example, right? Flying a kite, once you release the string and as the wind starts lifting it higher, that's the power of outer intention. It grabs a hold of that kite, but you don't have to keep pulling the string hard. You can just as it gets lifted higher, you just lightly hold the string and it passes through your fingers as the winds of outer intention or that higher power lift it higher and higher. Like a kite, the wind of outer intention, that higher power lifts up and carries you through the quantum field in alternative space to all you want. You are the kite. That's what I just want to say here, right? That's not separate from you. So you're not only flying the kite and holding the kite string, you are the kite. Do you hear this? And the tighter that you hold that string and force it, the less it can be lifted by that higher power. Now you're resisting. And you might even pull it, and you might even pull it out of the wind stream so it comes crashing down to the ground. Do you hear it? You're the kite. You're the string. You're the person holding it. You're everything. I really want to kind of get, once you really start getting this general concept of oneness, well, there's nothing you can't do. Yeah, you're going to have days when you get caught in 3D, but that's the fun of it. Isn't it? It's so fun, right? Just let it go. Not by holding it tightly, right? And let the winds of higher intention lift you higher, right? Go with the kite. So let's unpack this a little bit more. It's about bringing to your conscious awareness that you, as a drop of ocean spray, that we think of ourselves separated from the waves, not just the ocean, but the wave and everything, you're one with all that is, right? From where you come, of which you are made, into where you will return. Just like a drop of ocean spray, it returns to the ocean. It's only up there for a few seconds. That's what our lives are in 3D reality. We think it's a long time, right? 75, 80 years, 90 years, whatever, how long it is, right? But there is no time. So remember, you come from it, you return to it, and you're made of it, right? You cannot directly make outer intention do anything. Just like the kite. You can put the kite up there, you can get it going, but you can't make that wind lift your kite. You've got to trust that it will. And you've got to let the string pass through your hands. And then you've got to flow with it, right? Instead, you guide it, right? Just like you guide that kite. Your intention by aligning your heart and mind, right? That's the guidance. Your heart and mind, right? That inner intention of your 3D mind in that your heart within, that connection to the greater subconscious, that your heart which feels and knows, which is part of the quantum field, right? Has a direct line to that knowing, right? The mind doesn't have a direct line. All the information, all that knowledge that is in the quantum field, you have access to. But what happens is you get that information, then you put it through your 3D filter of your worldviews, of your bogus beliefs, your bogus assumptions. And now you're no longer looking at pure truth. You're looking at something that is filtered through your beliefs. That's something different than what that pure knowing is. Hear this. This is big, right? So this is where that expression, show me what you're made of, right? This is a perfect expression of, I'm going to show them what I'm made of, or show me what you're made of. Well, what are you made of? You're made of that. You're made of that power. You're made of that quantum divine light. That's what you're made of, right? So show them what you're made of. That's what that means. Use that higher power. You and all of 3D reality manifestations, right? All the objects, all the events are made of the same essence of God. That's what you're made of. That unfathomable power that keeps the planets in their orbit, your heart beating, the flowers blooming. That's why the world, reality, looks like as you see it, right? It can't be any other way. So when you ask what it looks like, it can only look like what you say it looks like, as you're seeing it. As you ask the question, that's what it looks like. And if it's a question with a big question mark, that's what it looks like, right? If it's coming from frustration or irritation, that's what it looks like. If it's coming from happiness and from excited expectation about something happening and manifesting in your reality, that's what it looks like. It can't be any other way, right? You are source. How could it be any other way, right? I really want to get this today. So Vadim uses another great example, and I want to go a little further with his example. I gave you a visual. It's like, I don't sail. A friend of mine does. He's a very good sailor, and I go with him. And I did some tacking and stuff like that. So I know a little bit about it, but not much. So, but here's a good example, right? You're in a sailboat. The wind, think of the wind as outer intention, right? That power, that divine power, that force that keeps the earth spinning, right? Keeps the planets in their orbit, your heart beating, your blood pumping, the flowers blooming, everything. It takes care of everything automatically, right? And moves you to new realities. That's the same power, right? That wind is outer intention, that unseen power of infinite intelligence, right? Of the quantum field. Well, if you go, I don't know a lot about sailing, but I do know you can't go directly into the wind. If you go straight into the wind, what happens? You don't move. The sails just flap, right? And you're not moving. So if you try to take on outer intention or that divine power directly through your 3D force, trying to force things, trying to figure out how, right? Wanting to know, then you're not going to move. You're just going to be flapping. Your sails are just going to be flapping, right? And then the other scenario is going against the wind. Well, you can go against the wind, right? And you can still adjust the sails and move to where you want to go, but it's a lot harder. Right now you're going against outer intention. You're going against infinity. You can get there. It creates a lot of resistance and struggle. That's the example of trying to accomplish things through just your 3D mind and 3D reality. You can accomplish things. You can make money. You can get houses. You can even get an SP that way. But it's all struggle. It doesn't last, and it's fleeting, and it doesn't tap into the power of who you really are. And then you're always walking on eggshells, wondering when the other shoe's going to drop. Hear this. When you're into your power, there is no other shoe anymore. Do you hear this, guys? You don't care. You might even just drop the shoe because you're now all powerful. Do you hear this? So, and then the ultimate is going with the wind. That's when you're going with the wind of outer intention. That's when you're aligned. That's when your heart and mind are aligned, right? Your heart feels the wind of outer intention. But you cannot, your mind or your 3D, you cannot direct it and harness it without inner intent. Oh yeah, hear this, guys. So your heart feels the wind of outer intention. Your heart always has access to it, but your heart can't direct it. Hear this, right? It will just sail all over the place. That's where the mind works, right? You set your intention. Otherwise, you don't set your intention, that boat's going to go anywhere. Where do you want to go? What's your destination, right? And then with inner intention, you've got to put the sail up. Hear this, right? You cannot direct and harness it without inner intention of your mind. That is, you've got to put the sail up, put up the sail by consciously setting your intention and desired end. Hear this, right? So definitely your heart can feel the winds of outer intention and is completely connected and part of that. But it can't harness it without you putting up the sail to capture that wind and to move you to your desired end. You hear that? That's why it's important. So don't even try. So it's not about, sometimes we're tough on the 3D reality or the 3D experience or the 3D mind. But you need the 3D mind. That's part of the experience. The 3D mind, the conscious choices that you make are part of you moving to your desired end, right? But don't stay there. Choose it, intend it, and don't meddle with the outer intention after that. Don't meddle with God. Don't meddle with infinite intelligence. Let the kite get lifted up and carried to your desired reality, right? So your heart feels the wind of outer intention, but your heart cannot direct it and harness it without your inner attention of your mind, without you choosing what you want, without you intending your desired reality, without you putting up the sail to capture that wind, right? And setting that desired end. That's how your heart and mind gets aligned. That's how you get carried and you steer to the lifeline of your choice. right? Remember, you're lightly steering with your intention, lighting up your desired future, lighting up that desired lifeline, right? Imagining your wish fulfilled, right? But also feeling fulfilled along the way, as I said, right? You can't feel, it can't be unfulfilled, 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 and then fulfilled, right? Lighting it, so if you're only feeling fulfilled when you're imagining it, if you're only feeling fulfilled when you're lighting it up and rolling that frame or sliding your head, and then the other 23 hours of the day, or how long you're around 3D reality without imagining, and you're feeling unfulfilled, then you can't get there. You're going to be fulfilled along the way. And as events unfold, remember, you are the events. You are life. You are the events, right? You are the manifestations. It's all coming from you. So you've got to feel fulfilled, because that fulfillment pours from you. It pours forth into 3D manifestations from you. Do you hear that? So the heart knows and receives unfiltered knowledge and information directly from source or infinite intelligence. That comes to you as truth, right? That's why you have intuitions, or you hear something intuitively, right? Or you see something, you might even have an image. That's all coming from that truth, right? That's truth, unfiltered from your soul, from your heart, from your higher being, from your inner being, from God, from the quantum field, right? It's all coming from there, from infinite intelligence. The 3D you receives it through but the 3D you receives that information then through the limiting filters of beliefs and assumptions about the world and your concept of yourself. Then you filter it, and you start doubting and asking all these questions, right? Your heart already has the knowing for you to realize your every wish and desire. Your heart already has that knowing. Your heart knows it all, already sees the bigger picture, right? But your heart doesn't know how to harness it and lead you there. It needs your inner intention or your intention to point there, to guide it, right? But it's not a direct. It's not hitting outer attention directly. It's not hitting your heart directly. It's guiding it in an indirect, in a loving, it's more of an embrace, right, than a pushing or pulling. Okay, so your higher self is like think of this. Vadim uses a good example, the Wizard of Oz. I thought it was a really brilliant example, because I think a lot of people have seen the Wizard of Oz, right? You need only to give yourself the luxury, the permission to have it or be it. The Wizard of Oz, the Scarecrow, wanted a heart, right? The Tin Man wanted the brain. Dorothy wanted to go home. But they didn't know that all the time that they didn't have to go see a wizard or the Wizard of Oz that was separate, or some higher power separate from them, or outside themselves, right? They had that power all along, right? But if the wizard told them initially that, they wouldn't believe it. So they had to go. So they went through this whole rigmarole, right, to discover that they had the power all along. Dorothy had the power to go home. The Scarecrow already had a heart. The Tin Man already had a brain. And the Lion already had courage, right? I can't forget the Lion. And the Lion already had courage. They already had it, right? But the Wizard of Oz went through a ritual to get them there. But it's already within you. You don't have to go through all that, right? You are the yellow brick road. It's all within you, right? That's really how to harness the unfathomable power of infinity, or the quantum field. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos, share them on your social media with your friends, even on your YouTube community, if you have a community tab, with everybody, guys, because that's how we grow. We're really starting to, the message is getting out there. Let me just say this, and I'm very excited about that. Hit us up, follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Karen. You can visit our website at tomkaren.com or besomethingwonderful.com, or just write me, info@besomethingwonderful.com. I always love to hear from you. With the greatest love and the greatest light. See you soon.